Today's story takes place in the East African country of Ethiopia, a land of contradictions, known for its Nobel Peace Prize winning prime minister and its many wars, for its food and for its many famines. To set the stage, the year is 1991, and the violent communist regime, the Derg, is crumbling as forces opposing the regime push into the capital at a rapid pace. The de facto head of state at the time, Mengistu Haile Mariam, who's by all accounts a certified sociopath, senses that he doesn't have long left in charge and decides to flee to Robert Mugabe's Zimbabwe with family members and other high-ranking government officials. However, there are 4 high-ranking government officials that don't make that flight, and they're left in a tricky position. These officials are Berhanu Baye, who's the foreign minister for the government between 1986 to 1989, Addis Tadella, who's military chief of staff at the time, Hailu Yemenu, who's acting prime minister at the time, and Tesfaye Gebre Kadan, who's acting president at the time, as well as having served as vice president and minister of defense. So kind of a list of who's who in the communist government. The story goes that on May 27th, Tesfaye, the then acting head of state, told representatives of the US government at the American embassy that law and order was breaking down and he had lost control of his conscript army. Later that same night, the 4 men went to the Italian embassy in Addis Ababa under the cover of darkness, where they sought political asylum and were led inside. The following day, on May the 28th, opposition forces marched into the capital and took over. Realizing that their previous co-workers were being arrested by the new government, the 4 decided it was best to stay put at the embassy. Days turned to months and months turned to years, with the men still refusing to leave, fearing for what would happen to them if they left and were caught. Despite the Ethiopian government asking the Italian authorities multiple times for the men to be handed over on charges of genocide, the Italian government refused because the Ethiopian government maintained the death penalty. Meaning, despite the Italian government not really wanting them there, and the whole thing being a bit of a diplomatic incident and embarrassment, they were forced to house them. However, things took a tragic turn. In 1993, Hailu committed suicide in the embassy. That still isn't the end of the story. During an Italian National Day celebration at the embassy on the 2nd of June 2004, an argument broke out between Tesfaye and Berhanu, and things got very heated very quickly. During the argument, Berhanu hit Tesfaye over the head with a glass bottle, though the following details remain inconsistent at best. According to some, afterwards a doctor on premises treated Tesfaye, though following the treatments he suffered a heart attack and he was promptly rushed to the Menelik II hospital, where Tesfaye was pronounced dead upon arrival. In 2008, their prospects of leaving became increasingly more grim, with both being sentenced to death in absentia by the Ethiopian Federal Supreme Court for crimes against humanity. In a final twist, in December of 2020, the 2 surviving men, Berhanu Baye and Addis Tadella, had their sentences downgraded from the death penalty to life imprisonment by the Ethiopian president. They were also later granted parole by the Ethiopian Supreme Court following a request by the Attorney General as part of a reconciliation effort. After a 30-year stay at the Italian embassy, they were finally able to leave, much to their delight as well as the Italians. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. This is actually a re-upload of an older video. I just did that so the audio would be a bit better. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully the Charles Taylor Part 2 video will be out soon. I just did this as a little in-between project. Also make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you.